Hey guys, and a very, very late birthday to this amazing thing right here. Ocarina of Time. 25 years. 25 years ago, this game came out. That's insane. This game came out, I was like, what, 10, 11 years old, I think. Uh, and back then, I fell in love with this game. It got me more into the Zelda franchise. I mean, when I say I love Zelda, I love Zelda. I don't have a lot of, I'm not one of those people like, oh, I love Zelda, so I need to have every bit of Zelda merchandise because those are material things and some things can happen. I mean, I've got the Triforce tattooed on my arm. I mean, come on. Um, so I may not have walls of Zelda stuff, but again, so I love Zelda. I do. I love the lore of it sometimes. Um, nowadays it's getting a little ridiculous, where they're like, oh, we're just gonna add this race, this super cool race, but then like never touch on that again. Here's Rauru and Minoru. Okay, where exactly, how old are they? Where did they come from? I mean, no, that's all you're getting. What happened to the no, we're not asking questions about them. We gave you the Zonai, now be happy with it. Like, but what, no. Um So here's Ganondorf. Wait, which Ganondorf is? No, no. Don't ask questions. Uh, but I love the music. I mean, I've gone through Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, I believe Wind Waker, or maybe not Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, Tears of the Kingdom, and just kind of broken down the music, about feeling and what it's portraying, and I think Ocarina of Time, like I just did the Zelda Ocarina of Time randomizer, and everything else is randomized, like all the other music. But I kept the Spear Temple as is. Why? Because go and listen to the Spear Temple music. Just do it. Just pause it. Go. Pause this. Go. Just do it. You'll thank me. If you have no idea what I'm talking about, yeah, go listen to it. I'll wait. Are you back? Did you do it? Yeah. Yeah, it's nice, isn't it? And that's just one of the pieces of music in Ocarina of Time. Obviously. Um, and each piece of music makes you feel a certain way. It's supposed to portray something, and I go through all of it. And the gameplay, while not as refined as some of the games now, obviously, it's you could still say it was in experimental stages because it was the first Zelda game to be on a 3D console. It was the first of its kind in Zelda terms. So, you know, simple things like Z targeting, uh, as simple as that sounds, was still experimental back then. And up to this point, we've got it to where it's now refined and it's become a staple of the game. Every 3D game has Z targeting, and it makes it nice for when all these enemies are taking, just one at a time, being nice and take turns, and you're like, okay, well, I don't want to hit one of them, and so just be able to focus on one person. The fact that Ocarina of Time is at the point where people are still trying to emulate what it's accomplished, and Mario 64. Go on Steam or wherever, and look at all the Mario 64 and Zelda Ocarina of Time, clones essentially. Look at all the AAA games that come out now that try to emulate what it's done. When you're a 25-year-old game and there are people still trying to emulate what you managed to do, you're a really good game. Is it a masterpiece? No, but no one can deny that what Ocarina of Time managed to do was influential. And again, still trying to be emulated. And you think it's a 25-year-old game. How hard could it be? Well, you wouldn't believe how many games are coming out that are failing or not doing as well, even though they're trying to follow that formula perfectly. I think the most of it has to do with just maybe the passion in it. These people, some people are trying to just capitalize on that genre, and they're not putting that passion and love for it into the game. I have a game, I can't remember what its name because I uninstalled it because I was playing it and like it really was a good game. It was like Ocarina of Time. But I'm like, I'm probably not going to play it a whole lot. I kept it. It wasn't that. It was a couple dollars on Steam, so I was like, okay. And it's a really good game. It's just I don't find myself playing it a lot between World of Warcraft and the randomizer and Genshin Impact and stuff like that. I just don't really do the Steam stuff that much. But definitely go on Steam. If I remember it, I'll put it, and you guys can check it out yourselves. It is a good game. Um, but Ocarina of Time and just the story, the as simple as it is, the story, the game mechanics, the music, the environment, you know, the the story's simple enough. The hero's tale, the young hero sets out on an adventure, save the princess. This kid who has nothing eventually becomes the hero. Um, the kid gets made fun of because he doesn't have a fairy. But then we see that, well, he doesn't have a fairy because he's not of Kokiri Forest. He's actually Hylian that was brought into the forest by his mother as she was pretty much dying, and put under the protection of the Deku Tree, who agreed to look after him. And she dies, and I don't know if the manga is legit, but eventually becomes one of the houses uh, in Kokiri Forest. Um, which I think that's just a theory, a game theory. Um, but then the Deku Tree is like, I see something special in this kid, and hey, Link, come here, buddy, come here. I've got, I'm about to die, so I want you to go inside me and take care of the evil in there. And then he does it, and he's like, huh, he managed to take care of it. Hey, Link, buddy, come here. I got something for you. There's this princess, and she lives in Hyrule Castle, right? So I want you to take this and go talk to her, and she will tell you what to do next. She's gonna give you a reason, a purpose, a hero's purpose, if you will. Great series, by the way. And we go to Hyrule Castle, and we meet not only Princess Zelda the first time, but we meet Ganondorf for the first time. Not Ganon. No, we are seeing his human form. At the end of the game, we see him, and then he transforms into Ganon in front of us. And this is essentially the first canonical version of Ganon. But we get to see Princess Zelda, and she's like, yeah, Link, come here, come here. You see that guy in there? Yeah. He's evil. And it's like, well, my dad's not listening to me, but we need to do something about this guy because he's let's be real, Link. I'm this guy's name is Corn Pop. He's a bad dude. He's a bad dude. Um, and she's like, well, you have the spiritual stones, so I need you to go collect the other two. And you're like, isn't that a bad idea? She's, no. Come on, bro, trust me. I'm the princess of Hyrule. Just trust me. I know what I'm doing. Should you tell your father? No, we shouldn't tell my father because, again, he doesn't believe me. So then we go off and we go to Darunia and doing his best Hulk Hogan impression. He's like, yeah, brother. Thanks for defeating that Dodongo, brother. We go to Rudo, who clearly has an infatuation with Link, and she's like, I'll give this to you if you marry me. And we're like, just hand it over, please. And we get, to the castle, and she's riding out, and she throws the Ocarina of Time, and I said the thing. The Ocarina of Time into the moat, and Ganondorf's riding by, and he's like, wait up, sweetheart. I just want to talk. And he stops and sees us, and he's like, you've got guts, kid. Let me show them to you. And he blasts us as a kind of a warning, and he rides off like, "Oh, I'm gonna tap that ass, even though she's underage. But I'm Ganondorf and I'm evil." And we get the Ocarina of Time. He said the thing again. Uh, and then we go to the Temple of Time, and despite the fact that Ganondorf ran after Zelda, somehow we open the door of time, and he's like, I've been waiting for you. You let me into the sacred realm, and now I'm going to use the Triforce of Power and the Triforce in general, take over Hyrule, and it's all thanks to you, kid. And we're like, oh, crap. And then we wake up, and there's some fat guy standing in front of us. It's like, so how long have you been there? You're not recording this, are you? And he's like, my name is Haru, and I'm the Sage of Light, and you've been locked here for 7 years, but don't worry that your ass hurting, just ignore that. You have to stop Ganondorf, and we're like, okay. And then we meet Sheik, and she's like, yeah, don't pay any mind to me. I know I look like Zelda, and probably sound like Zelda, and mysterious that Zelda's not around that I am, but don't worry about that. And then they task us to go into all the different temples, and you know, same old, same old. We finally defeat Ganondorf, and he's like, poop. Well, I still have this. And then he transforms, and Zelda finally realizes, like, oh yeah, all this is my fault. You think? You think? I thought you said you had it under control, Zelda. I thought you knew what you were doing. You lied to me. I was a child. You lied to me. How could you... Bold-faced liar. You looked at me and said, I'm the princess. Trust me. And that's pretty much Ocarina of Time in a nutshell. Took me about 11 minutes to tell that story, but at least you know what Ocarina of Time is about. I don't think those events happen that way, John. But that's the story, and I'm sticking to it. But it's a simple enough story. The music, though, amazing. Every one of the places you go to, no matter how small, and that's the great thing about Zelda in general. No matter how meaningless an area might be, the music is always beautiful. Whether it be music or even just in Breath of the Wild, where it's just the ambiance, just the sound of nature around you. Um, but you definitely see that at night in this game, especially in the desert. You've got the desert, and you just kind of hear the howling of the wind, and there's no music, but just kind of like howling of the wind, and like you see the sands and stuff like that, and the forest at night. It's gorgeous, gorgeous, so gorgeous. Um, and where's the map? I saw the map down here. Yeah, and the map for the time was the biggest Hyrule we've been to. Nowadays, it's like you take this and put that into the map we have now of like Tears of the Kingdom. You're like, this is so small. This is so small. But I would love to see the game remade in the style of Breath of the Wild. I mean, imagine going to the Desert Colossus, right? And you're slowly walking up to the Spirit Temple. And you see it in the distance. You see this great statue just, the sun's starting to set. You have the sand slowly blowing in front of you. Just a little bit, not like a storm, but just the wind's going and it's blowing up the sand, and you're walking up to see this huge, grand statue, this goddess of the sand. Kind of slowly, it's kind of being eroded over time. But there it is, the sun setting behind, and it's sitting there. And just how beautiful it would look in that style of Breath of the Wild, where everything is large, where you can climb everything, and or even Lake Hylia or Zora's Domain. The forest I know would be gorgeous. Castle Town. Imagine going to Castle Town in the style of Breath of the Wild. It could probably be bigger than, say, Twilight Princess's version, which was huge. Probably the biggest version of the Castle Town we've seen. Pretty sure. Yeah, I think so. There was just so many people. It was hustle bustle. So many things to do. Between games and hidden secrets and stuff like that. But I would love to see Ocarina of Time in Breath of the Wild, Tears of the Kingdom style. Um, Beautifully a tragic story that continues to spur reflection. I mean, in the end, it is kind of a tragic story. This kid gets, even though he willingly does it, he loses 7 years of his life because he's sealed up. I mean, imagine if you were that, how would you react? You wake up and it's 7 years later. You've been asleep for 7 years. How would you feel knowing that you've lost 7 years of your life? So, and whereas Link can go back to being a child, at the end of the game, Zelda's like, everything was my fault. So I'm going to send you back to your time and let you live out, the years that you didn't get because of, me. And, you can live out your life. And instead of doing that, Link's like, well, I know about Ganondorf and I have something I need to do. Goes to Hyrule Castle and like, hey Zelda, you don't know me yet, but that the guy Corn Pop in there, he's a bad dude. And she's like, how do you know his name is Corn Pop? It's because you told me already. It's like, yeah, that guy, you might want to stop him. That prophecy, the prophetic dreams you were having, yeah, those are real. How do you know this? Because I fought him already. Look at my old calloused hands. Um, so instead of just reliving his childhood and just living his life, he's like, well, I'm a hero, so. And then we get Majora's Mask happening, and then Twilight Princess essentially in the future. But the flow of time is always cruel. Its speeds seems different for each person, but no one can change it. A thing that doesn't change with time is a memory of younger days. Yeah. Yeah, so no matter Link got to relive his childhood, no matter how much we want to, we're not going to be able to go back 7 years. Our time is done. We're older. What's happened has happened, and we're not going to get to go back and relive anything. We're not going to go back and get to change things and set things right, or what's happened has happened. Um, 1998. 1998. That is that's crazy. But yeah, the Legend of Zelda in general is a great series. The story of Ocarina of Time is as old as that tale is of the young man becoming the hero, the coming of age story. That's why it's still one of the greatest stories ever told, because you can take that story and those types of characters and put them into any era, no matter what time era you're living in. That time, that story of doing what you know is right, and overcoming adversity, and becoming a hero, and growing through these troubling times, no matter what era you live in. 50 years from now, 100, 1,000 years from now, this story of the hero will still be there. And I think Ocarina of Time is one of those. I mean, the game itself isn't perfect, but the story itself, the way they portrayed it, Link starting with nothing, being the outcast, the other, Kokiri making fun of him, growing to be this hero and the one that everyone looks to, this legendary hero who, even 100 years in the future, people are still seeing this guy as praise, because of what he's. Look at the Wind Waker Link. We get to see Hyrule Castle with a statue of Link from Ocarina of Time. You do great deeds, and you're remembered and rewarded, even 100 years later, 200 years later. But it's a story that's as old as time, and Ocarina of Time just really did it well. You know, Music was amazing. The combat system, while simplistic, was really innovative for the time. And again, people are still trying to emulate that today, and they're failing. I mean, how do you do that? Um, but no matter how old I get, there's never gonna be a time where I look at this game and be like, no, it's bad. Um, is it a masterpiece? No. It's like my top three. It's definitely not number one. As beautiful as the game is, I think Majora's Mask, when it comes to the system and everything, it did it better. Story wise, it's darker, which I like. Um, Wind Waker, Twilight Princess, there are better Zelda games, but for what it did, what it's still doing, that so let me know what you guys. How old were you when Ocarina of Time came out? Did you get it when it first came out? What did you think of the game? And what do you think the impact has been since it's come out? I mean, what do you guys remember a game recently or whatever that's come out that's trying to emulate what this did? Um, and what was your favorite part of Ocarina of Time? Music, whatever it is, just anything Ocarina of Time. Just let me know. Anyway, that's gonna do it for me. You guys know the drill. I'll see you guys later. Bye, guys.